Okay, great. So let's get started. So I'll invite you to come into child's pose, which is kind of a nice place to get started. But if child's pose doesn't work for you for whatever reason, you could also be seated or lying down. We're just going to get into our breath a little bit and sort of start to work our way into the practice. So settling into the shape that you've chosen. And if you're in child's pose, you can take your knees nice and wide, feet together, and start to find your breath. So you can take a big inhale through your nose and exhale through your mouth. And just doing that a couple of times, kind of letting go of whatever's been going on for you so far today. And beginning to invite the Ujjayi Pranayama, or the ocean breath, which can be explained in a lot of different ways. It's a breath in and out through the nose. And I like to think of it as almost lifting the back of my throat. So the breath is kind of swirling back there. It can come with a little bit of an ocean sound. And as we begin our energy flow practice, one of the ways that we can think about that is that we're here to tap into the flow, to use the breath and the body to connect with the energy that is happening. So we can think of that as like the energy in my body, my mood, the weather, what's going on in the world, what's happening for us, what we're moving into September with. So we can think about it in a lot of different ways. But my invitation for right now is just to ask yourself, what does that flow feel like for me today? What is the flow I want to tap into? And I don't want you to think about this too intellectually. This is really, if anything, a practice to get out of the head. So just connect with your breath and feel around tapping into that flow, whatever that means for you today. And then when you're ready, we'll start to move up towards our downward dog. So you might be ready to go there right away. You might want to stay in child's pose for a bit or start to move through cat and cow. And if any of you are using the playlist that I suggested, you're welcome to begin it now if you want to. So moving through cat and cow, just inhaling to come into a little bit of a back bend. Exhaling to curl under. Eyes could be closed here. And again, as you're tapping into that flow, just noticing, how does your spine want to move? Do you want to make circles, side to side motion? And same thing for your downward dog. Once you get there, you can bend one knee and then the other. You can sway. And when you do get into that downward dog, I'd love for you to just notice your hands for a moment. So I want you to think about Pada Bandha, the hand lock. So there's like a little valve right in the center of your palm, and you can almost imagine your palm like a suction cup pulling up away from the earth. Make sure the base of your knuckles is down, but the finger pads are also pressing in like a little claw almost. And then when you're ready, you can come forward into your standing forward bend, feet hips distance or maybe wider, knees a little bit bent, hanging down over your legs. And it's great to go wide if you just need a little bit more space for your belly or your hips or your lower back there. You can be hanging here, resting elbows on bent knees or swaying. And eventually we'll roll up. So bend the knees deeply, leaning back into the heels, curling up or coming up with a flat spine if that works better for you. Coming to stand near the top of your mat. Let your shoulders kind of melt down your back. Lift up your toes, spread them apart and reconnect them. Imagine that you are rooting your feet down into the earth, connecting with that energy, that spirit of the earth. And as you do, taking a moment to acknowledge the land that you stand on, the names of the traditional people of this land, if you know them. And that's a part of our flow here too. And let's begin. So next time you inhale, reach your arms up to the sky. Exhale, dive over your legs. Halfway lift, draw your heart forward and up. Right foot steps back, bring down your knee. Heart and hands rise up, inhale. Exhale, downward facing dog. Connect your palms, step back. Come forward to plank. You could do that on or off your knees. And then exhale all the way down to your belly for this first one. Also, I'm sneeze, sorry guys. And then take your cobra. So hands by the low ribs, just lifting your heart up lightly. And then returning to downward dog. That sneeze might be coming. Right leg rises to the sky. On your inhale, just as high as feels good. And then step that foot through. Helps to lean a little bit to the left. Inhale, heart and hands rise up, lengthening, low lunge. Exhale to the top of your mat, fingertips and feet. Halfway lift, draw your heart forward. Exhale fully and melt. Bend the knees, look forward, rise all the way up. You can lean back a little bit at the top if you like. And then dive to the earth again. Halfway lift, draw your heart forward. Left foot steps back. You could always do a high lunge here if you prefer. Rising up. And then downward facing dog. Connect the palms, step back. Coming forward to plank pose, on or off the knees. This time, let's take a little push up. Hugging the elbows in, looking forward. Doesn't have to be a big push up. And then pull your heart through to upward facing dog. So the kneecaps lift and you're kind of pulling your heart through your straight arms. You could absolutely do cobra instead there. Returning to downward dog on your exhale. Catch an inhale, left leg will rise to the sky. And step that foot through. Yeah, higher low lunge, rising up. Beautiful, everybody. And then forward fold. Halfway lift, lengthen. Exhale and melt. Bend the knees, rise all the way up. Hands connect at the heart. That's one sun salutation. We'll begin again. Reaching the arms up. Really tapping into your flow. So you can go faster or slower than I'm talking. Okay. Especially if you know the sequence. Halfway lift, draw the heart forward. Right foot steps back. So really take that full inhale all the way up. And your full exhale to get back to downward dog. So many ways to take vinyasa, okay, including cat and cow. You can come forward to plank, little push up as you exhale, pull the heart through, inhale, shoulders down and back, downward facing dog. Right leg will rise to the sky. Step that foot through. High or low lunge. Forward fold. Lengthen and melt. Bend the knees, rise all the way up. And dive all the way down again. Halfway lift, draw forward. Left foot steps back. Inhale to rise. Beautiful, you guys. Downward dog. Through vinyasa, coming forward to plank. Lower down. You can press back up again or maybe flow right through to your upward dog, but just be aware of your shoulders there. Downward facing dog. Left leg rises to the sky. Step the foot through. Inhale to rise. Beautiful, you guys. Forward fold. Halfway lift, lengthen. Exhale and melts. Bend the knees, rise all the way up. Bring the hands to the heart. Take a deep breath right here. Notice your flow. Widen your feet apart. Maybe shoulders distance. Turn the toes to face out. And we're going to sink towards a squat. So depending on your knees, you might want to come down just part of the way. The knees are kind of pointing off in the same direction as the toes. Or you can come right down into your full squat, letting the hips come down sort of between the heels. Depending on your Achilles and your hips, you might need to prop your heels up on something. We won't be here too long. Press the elbows into the inner thighs. Try to get longer through the spine. So lift the chest. Take a nice big inhale. And exhale. Inhale again. And then sit your bum down. Lay all the way down onto your back. Release your legs. You might just give them a little shake and then just put them down on the mat for now. Okay. Place your hands on your low belly. We're going to do a little bit of pelvic floor work before we get into our transverse abdominis work. This is core, though it doesn't feel like much. Okay, this is pelvic floor work, so that net of muscles around the genitals, which is sort of like the center of the deep core line. Super important to be able to both engage and release here. Okay, so we're going to inhale, relax this area. So it kind of presses down on the inhale. On the exhale, gather in and up. So we're not actually doing anything with the belly. It's like that feeling of trying not to go to the bathroom. Okay. And then on the inhale, we're going to release. Relax, relax, relax. Exhale, gather in and up. Inhale, relax. Exhale, gather in and up. So keep going with your breath. If you're a little more comfortable with the pelvic floor work, keep breathing deeply, but go a little bit faster. See if you can release and then engage about 10 times. See if you can completely release and then completely engage. And now I've lost count. I think I'm even worse at multitasking mentally since the baby. So we're going for around 10. I feel like that's probably more. Okay, and then the next time you're on your contraction, I'm just going to invite you to hold. So we're still breathing. The belly is relatively soft, though these muscles are connected. And you're just going to see if you can hold that lift in and up. So it's like trying not to go to the bathroom, trying to hold it in. Or like you're trying to gather something up with these muscles and pull it into your body. Hold. And relax. Full release. Take a nice deep breath into your belly. Stay relaxed. One more. Beautiful. Okay, now from here, we're going to engage a little deeper into the core. So transverse abdominis, we do want those pelvic floor muscles involved. So we're going to engage the muscles, gather in and up, but then also press your belly button towards your spine without flattening your back. Just keep it relatively neutral. You can stay here or interlace your fingers around behind the back of your head and lift your shoulder blades up off the mat. And then lift your shins up too. Okay, if this feels too intense, keep your feet down and you're just going to do a little march from side to side. That's pretty accessible for everybody, most people, almost everybody. Otherwise, floating your legs. Okay. And then on the inhale, the shins are going to move past your hips just a bit. And as you exhale, you're going to bring them in. Inhale, knees slide past the hips, shins stay parallel. Exhale, gather in. Okay, if this feels easy, on the exhale, you can also curl the lower half up a little bit off the ground. It's not going to be a big movement. Inhale, knees move away. Exhale, tailbone may curl off the ground. So this is one of my favorite core exercises because I've really never met a core exercise that activates my transverse as effectively as this one. It's very common for shaking to occur doing this one because it really asks some of those deeper, more subtle muscles to get working, okay? So if you're shaking, you're not alone and there's nothing wrong. Okay, if it hurts, I want you to put your feet down on the ground. Or if something doesn't feel right, just put your feet down, okay? So we're gonna go for 3 more. 2. 1 more. And relax. You can take soles of the feet together, knees open wide, relax your belly. Or you can take knees together, feet wide if you prefer. And just notice your pelvic floor. So if you're new to that area, sometimes it's kind of hard to feel. It gets easier with time, but just see if you can kind of feel around that genital area and relax. Nice, okay. 1 more. So we're gonna bring the knees together. So remember, you can do that little marching side to side. That's super good for stability. It's quite safe for almost everyone. So feel free to take that one or come with me. So we're gonna lift the shoulder blades up again. Belly button's pressing back towards the spine. Pelvic floor is engaged, and I'm not really like trying to curl a lot for now. I'm just in a neutral spine. I'm gonna lift my legs up as before, except this time I'm gonna widen the knees apart. So I've got the big toes together and the knees are wide in a little diamond shape, okay? And then from here, I'm gonna press the big toes into each other and I'm gonna pulse my upper body for 10, 9, 8, 7, still breathing, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Now I'm gonna pulse the tailbone for 10. Keep pressing the toes together. 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. And if you weren't feeling it before, you're probably feeling it now. So let's relax. You can take a happy baby if you like. So soles of the feet to the sky and just a little rock from side to side often feels quite good there. If that's not serving, feel free to rest in any way that does. And again, we're just consciously relaxing belly, pelvic floor. Okay, let's release the legs. You can give them a little shake. Okay, and then we'll make our way back to downward facing dog. So you can rock and roll forward and back if you like. And then some of you might be comfortable jumping back through Vinyasa. If you know how to do that, do your thing. I'm not going to teach that right now though. We're just going to rock or roll to one side, and then you can swing your legs around or maybe go from cross legs. And then we'll take Vinyasa from there. So remember, Vinyasa can be cat and cow. It can be whichever version works for you. My favorite version for most people is plank pose. And then that little push up, it strengthens your arms so fast. And then upward facing dog from here. And that might feel quite nice after doing that core work. Back to downward dog. Take a nice deep breath here. Exhale out your mouth. Reconnecting to your flow. And then make your way back up to the top of your mat. Halfway lift, lengthen. Exhale, melt, and then rise up. So you can roll slowly or you can bend the knees and sweep up in one go. Hands reconnect at the heart. Take a moment to feel. Beautiful. Soft knees, reach your arms up again. Inhale. Exhale, dive over the legs. Lengthen halfway. Step your right foot back. Bring your knee down. Feel free to pat it. We'll be here for a little bit longer. And actually, you can do this whole sequence with your knee off the ground if you prefer. We'll reach the arms up to the sky. Square the hips, draw tailbone down, get nice and long through the sides of the waist, and settle the shoulders. Then bend your right elbow, hold on to the elbow with your left hand, press up into it, and you can add a little bit of a side stretch there. So that should probably feel pretty good after the core too. You can think of squeezing the right thumb and pressing the hips a little forward. Reconnect to your breath. Okay, inhale, come through center, bring your right fingertips down, keep your left arm up. So you're in a nice open twist. Right hand could be off the mat, and you could be on your palm or a block if you prefer that to fingertips, that's fine. Hug the shoulder blades down the back, open your chest to the sky, and if you're comfortable, lift up your back knee. Think of really straightening through the back leg and kind of lifting that hip up a little, even as you're twisting. Okay, we're gonna come from here into pyramid. So I'm just gonna sweep my top hand down towards the ground and then a light hop up with my back foot. So it steps in a little bit closer and the toes turn slightly forward. You could have your hands on blocks here, okay? Mine are just on fingertips on the ground right now. Both legs are straight, but we're not blocking the knees, or straightish. You can have a bend in the knee if you need here. Draw the heart forward as you inhale, and as you exhale, melt. And then just do that with your breath. Lengthen and melt. Doesn't have to be a lot of a lift, but just imagine your whole spine lengthening forward and then releasing down. Awesome. And then look forward, connect your palms, step your way back to your downward facing dog. Optionally, take your vinyasa here. You're more than welcome to stay if you prefer. Just rinsing out the spine. And returning to your downward facing dog. Okay, from here, slight bend in the elbows. Remember the claws of the finger pads into the mat. Send your right leg up to the sky. And then you can roll your hips open and bend your knee. Breathing here. And then draw the knee down and in towards your chest, but stay in your downward dog. And then open the knee out to the right side. So it's like you're peeing on a hydrant. You could absolutely do this with your left knee down if you prefer, okay? If you're feeling pretty good, try straightening your leg open to the right. For 3, 2, 1. Draw the knee in, step it forward, come into warrior 2. Back heel spins down, rise up and open. Knee bends over the ankle, draw the tailbone lightly down. Nice and long through both sides of the waist. And I'm just going to turn around so you can still see me here. Circle your wrists. Keep the belly drawing in lightly. Okay, and then make stop signs with your hands as if you're trying to press 2 walls away. Pull the shoulders lightly down and bring the hands slightly back. There's quite a stretch that I feel all the way up into my shoulders here. Good, release that, circle the wrists again. Triangle, straighten your front leg. Keep a little bend in that knee, tip forward. Fingertips land lightly. Drawing the belly in, open the heart to the sky. Hug the shoulders down the back. So you kind of feel the sternum bone coming forward, even as the tailbone is lengthening. Just checking in here. Yeah, nice knees, everybody. You guys are doing great. Okay, inhale. And then as you exhale, wide-legged forward fold. So bring your hands down. Go ahead and parallel your feet so that all your toes are facing the long edge of your mat. I'm just up on my fingertips here, nice and high, and you could also widen your feet apart a little bit. Soften the knees slightly, walk your fingertips forward, and then melt your heart back in between your thighs. So your weight is more in your feet, almost kind of into your heels, and your fingertips are digging into the mat so that there's a little bit of traction for your spine, and you can just kind of melt your heart towards the earth. Head can just be relaxed. Really nice, everybody. Okay, back up to your fingertips. We're going to turn all the toes to face the short edge of the mat, the front of the mat. So we're spinning kind of through a lunge, and then we're going to walk those hands forward and lift up the back leg. So you are welcome to be up on your blocks here if you need to be or want to be. We're going to bend your standing leg just a little, square the hips down, and just look at the floor. So nice and even. We're going to send the heel up to the sky on the inhale. On the exhale, bend the knee and bring it in towards the chest, leaning back into your standing heel. So there's a bit of a bend in the knee there still. Inhale, send the leg up to the sky. Exhale, bend the knee in. Inhale, extend. Exhale and bend. So this is a bit of butt core that you may or may not be feeling in your outer right hip. Okay, it's working into those muscles in terms of stability. Okay, let's do one more. Really nice. And then extend the leg, flex the foot, and step it behind you so that your ankles are crossed. And I'm just going to come up onto my blocks here for a moment. So some people do this with the pinky toes touching. I never feel like I have enough room for my thighs there. So I've got my feet, maybe heels are maybe a foot apart or so. It's more my thighs that are crossed. I'm going to soften both knees a bit, stick my bum up to the sky, and then fold. And I can work on playing around a little bit with this one. So I'm actually leaning forward a bit and working on my front leg being straight. You could do the opposite, lean back, and you'll kind of get different areas of your hips. You can let your head hang. You could also sway a little from side to side, which will give you some different information. Cool. Okay, so what we're going to do next is, of course, optional, and I'm just going to move back a little bit so that I can show you what I'm doing. So I'm going to bring the feet a little closer together, so closer to pinky toes together, but right away I'm going to come onto the balls of my feet and hook my ankles together. Then I'm going to bend my knees wide. Plant my palms, dig my fingertips into the mat, and I'm trying to snuggle my upper arms under my knees. Then I'm leaning forward, squeezing the ankles together as hard as I can, and I might float into a variation of crow. Okay, then I'm going to release my feet and land in squat. May or may not want to do that, right? So you can take a step. So one is bringing the ankles together. You could do the prep and just kind of lean a bit of weight into your hands. And then you could release into squat or just a nice wide forward fold kind of version. Okay. So just a couple breaths. We don't want to kind of blow out into our crow here. Nice, everybody. And then we'll meet in standing forward bend. So you can lift your bum up if you're in squat. Make soft fists with your hands and roll up as you roll the wrists. Nice and slow. Good. Bring the fists up towards your shoulders. Shoulders down and just curl the fists. And then inhale and open the fingers really wide. Exhale and curl the fists down. So you feel that stretch at the back of the wrist here. Inhale and exhale. One more time. And then relax. You can shake your hands or roll the wrists and just take a moment to reaccess your standing shape, your posture, your connection with the earth, your breath. Beautiful. Next inhale, reach your arms up to the sky. Dive down. Lengthen, and then step your left foot back. So knee can come down for this first part, reaching the arms up. Squaring the hips, drawing tailbone down. Bend the left elbow, hold on to it with the right hand, press up into it. And you can add a little bit of a side stretch to the right. I'd love for you to have your left glute engaged. How do we do that? By pressing into the floor a little bit with your left foot. And you should probably feel your hip flexor, maybe even your psoas releasing a little bit as you do that, especially if you draw the tailbone a little down. Okay, inhale through center, gently release that left hand down, maybe right off the mat. It can be pretty wide. Reach your right arm up. So we're in a little bit of a twist, hugging the shoulders down the back. Optionally lift the back knee. Think of hugging the inner thighs together, really firm through the left thigh. So the hips are relatively level. I have a tendency to really sink down here. So I want to resist that by kind of pulling up on that left side. Okay, inhale. Spin the right hand down to either side of the front foot. Hop that back foot in just a little bit. Land the heel. Feel welcome to use your blocks here. So the feet are about hips distance apart widthwise. Lengthen your heart forward. And as you exhale, melt. Think of hugging the inner thighs together. So another way of saying that is draw the right hip back. Nice long spine on the inhale, and we're just kind of melting on the exhale. Don't worry about how far you're going or not going. Okay, lengthening forward, and then step yourself back into your downward facing dog. Feel free to flow through Vinyasa here if you like. So we've got some more standing to go, and then depending on how things go, we might do a little more. So just, measure your energy here, see what you want to do. And remember that cat and cow is a Vinyasa. Vinyasa essentially just means a movement with breath. So don't feel like you have to do that whole sequence if it's not going to serve you in this moment. Okay. Nice work, everybody. Let's take a big inhale through the nose, out through the mouth. Okay, left leg is going to go up to the sky. Remember, you can do this with your right knee on the ground if you want. Okay, you can open up your hips, bend the knee. And then bring your knee in towards your chest, staying in downward dog, and open to the left. So this is like, hello, outer hips, okay? This is plenty. If you want more, straighten your leg. That's going to be more intense. Inhale, bend the knee. Nice work, you guys. Step the foot forward. Warrior two. Knee over the ankle, hips level. Circle the wrists. Left leg is forward now. And then make those soft fists again and curl them down. And you can gently draw the shoulders down, stretch the hands slightly back. Okay, release that, turn the palms forward, and then make those stop signs here. So they're sideways stop signs. So from this perspective, it looks like this. So the fingertips are reaching back, thumb is pointing up towards the ceiling. This one is one of my favorites for all of the chest tightness that I get from nursing. And, you know, typing is another thing that might do that. So just allowing that to open. Feels pretty intense, but good. Okay, release, triangle. Straighten your front leg without locking the knee. Tip forward, fingertips land lightly, open the heart. Nice long sides of the neck. Nice long left side body. So for some of us, that means lifting up a little bit higher. And think of also wrapping the left outer hip back. Another way of saying that is the left inner thighs rolling forward. That might help you lean back a bit more. Nice, everybody. Inhale, and then we're coming into wide-legged forward fold. So let the hands come down, parallel the feet to the long edge of the mat. Okay, so from here, few options that you might like. Option one, that same little shoulder release we did the last time we were here. So knees are a bit bent, heart is melting down. Option two, you can fully fold and interlace your fingers around behind the back of the head or back of the, towards the ceiling. Option three, you can do a prep for headstand. We have been doing a bit of preparation for this in our practice today. So it might be a good day to explore that if you want to. And this is called teddy bear headstand. So it's a nice one for not going all the way up. Okay, so you might need to bring your knees down to the ground first for this. I'll just briefly show it. Don't worry about it if you don't want to take it today. And I'm just aiming my head down, hands in a tripod shape. And then I'm trying to get my knees up on my elbows. So it's a little like crow on my head. But I'm not, that's as far as I'm going to go today with that one. Okay, you can release out of your headstand if you're in it. Release your hands if they're interlaced behind you. Bring the fingertips under your shoulders and give your head a little shake. And then walk your hands towards your left foot, towards the front of your mat. Spin through a lunge. So we're squaring the hips. And then we're going to lift up that back leg. You can absolutely put your hands on blocks here. It'll be a little easier if you do. So just take a quick peek at your right toes. You want them pointing straight down, not off to the side. Bend your standing leg and look at the floor. Send the heel up, inhale. Exhale, bring the knee in. Lean your weight into your heel. Send the heel up, inhale. Exhale, knee comes in, and your weight should be on your left heel. So a little back, and that's where you'll feel your glute. Yeah, and if you're feeling it in your outer hip, you've got it. That's what we're looking for. Two more. Last one. Beautiful. And then extend the leg and place it behind the left foot. So you've got your thighs crossed. Yeah, and it might be enough just to fold like that, okay? You might also want to explore a little bit, shifting your weight forward or back, or side to side. Bending one knee, working the other to straight. So you can again close your eyes, keep breathing, and just explore. On this side, where is the spot that feels like it needs it? You can absolutely keep your heart lifted to keep your lower back nice and neutral if fully folding forward doesn't serve you today. All right. Now, maybe let's try that crow again. So I'm just going to talk us through it, maybe with a little more detail. Totally up to you if you want to try it. If you don't, you can stay here. You can come into a squat or standing forward bend where we'll meet. So I'm just going to bring my feet a little closer together. Lift the heels up and magnet the ankles together. And then bend the knees a little wide. I'm going to place my palms on the mat and I'm aiming for elbows over the wrists. Okay, so I want to bend the elbows at first down quite a bit. Then as I lean forward, my elbows are going to start to come over my wrist. I'm really pressing my ankles together a lot. And then there's just that little bit of float there. So it's more about balance than it is even about core, but you do want to squeeze your ankles. Okay. And then you can come down through a squat if you like. Yeah, and then we'll meet in that standing forward bend. And then make soft fists and roll them as you slowly rise to standing. And take a moment there. You might want to sort of shake it out a little. And then just check in with where you're at in the flow. Okay, so from here, I would like to offer another pose that's pretty fun. It's a bit of a double peak day. So if you're feeling like, whew, I am good, don't feel like you have to take this. We won't spend a ton of time on it. So escape route alternatives, you can take legs up the wall if you have a wall available, or you can lie on your back with the soles of the feet together and the knees open wide and just take a little rest. Okay, if you're feeling like, yes, I've still got some energy, I'm feeling strengthened and I'm feeling good, we'll play a little with handstand. And you can do the prep with or without a wall, okay? So if you do have a wall, go ahead and bring your mat there. And I'll talk you through the whole thing. So just come through with me, and then I'll check in and maybe give a little bit of extra tips after we've tried it once, okay? So the prep for handstand is downward dog, which we've done already, you guys know it. So I want you to be about a foot away from the wall, not too close. My pinky fingers are just on the edges of the mat, and I want to find that claw feeling, like I'm holding on to clumps of dirt with my hands. I'm going to shorten my dog until my shoulders are over my wrists. I want to look at the floor, okay, not the wall behind me, then I will get lost. If I look at the floor, I'll know where I am. So I'm letting my heart come down a little, and shoulders are really deepening into their sockets, okay? Then one leg can lift up. Hug the inner thighs, bend your standing leg. And that's plenty. Okay, you can stay. You can do some little hops if you want, and it doesn't have to be very high. Okay. You want to really spring load that bottom leg if you're thinking about going up. Okay. If you get up, you can bend your knees, squeeze them together, try to find that plumb line looking at the floor, and experiment with legs going up. Take a rest, child's pose or standing forward fold, whichever is easier. And we're going to try that one more time. I'm going to check in with you guys. So second leg. Coming into that downward dog if you're trying this today. Walking your feet towards your hands. So that's great. Tessa, you could bring your shoulders a little more forward towards your hands and look down, look at the floor. That's it. Then the leg comes up, whatever the second side is. And then you can try a couple little hops, but keep looking at the floor. Nice, Paisley. Awesome, Tessa. Yes, it's really, really good. You're doing great. Beautiful. And then rest. You can come into your child's pose. If you're laying on your back, you can stay there. We'll meet you. If you're in child's pose, you might want to take the hands down beside the hips. It's a little more of a embryo pose, is a little bit more kind of cozy. Breathing into your lower back. And then we'll meet on our back. So if you're there doing legs up the wall, you might just want to move away from the wall a little bit. If you're in child's pose, Just rolling up, swing your legs out from under you and find your way down to laying on your back. So from my perspective, we're kind of good on the sort of intense aspects of the practice, but I am going to offer one bridge. And if you know and love wheel and you want to take it into that, you can. Okay, you don't need to. We've done lots of good sort of more intense work today, but this will just release the shoulders before we go forward. So elbows by the ribs, fingertips point up to the sky, heels about sit bone distance apart, or personally, I like a little wider, more like actual hips distance apart. Press the elbows down and apart so that the shoulders squeeze together, and gently lift the hips up. Stay here or grab the edges of your mat, pull the mat apart with your hands and snuggle the shoulders under you. Push the floor away with your feet. If you're comfortable interlacing your fingers, you can do it that way too. Hug the inner thighs. And then release, come on down. Just one of those today. Let your belly rest really consciously. Knees could fall together or apart. My arms are just wide like a T. Okay, eventually, feet on the ground, take your right ankle to your left thigh. Hold on to the back of the left thigh with your interlaced fingers. Thread the needle. You can breathe softly into your belly here. If this one is quite uncomfortable for you, try wedging a low prop like a cushion under your hips. For some people, it really makes it feel so much better. Okay, gently release that. Place your left foot on the mat. Keep the thread the needle shape and just walk the left foot to the left edge of the mat. So you're just widening the foot a bit and then let the knees fall to the right. So it's kind of a funny variation of a twist. If this hurts your knee at all, slip your foot off the thigh. You can enhance it by squeezing the left bum a little bit, gently drawing the tailbone down and pressing that left shoulder into the mat. Look left. If you haven't, slip your right foot off the thigh and wash your knees from side to side like windshield wipers a couple times. Step the feet to the floor and switch sides, so left ankle to right thigh. Thread the needle, hold on to the back of the right thigh. Flex both of your feet to protect your knees and let your hips stay nice and heavy. So if you do find that you're kind of curling up off the mat, your lower back is trying to do this for you. If you wedge a little cushion underneath your lower back, it will generally relax and you can get into your hips a bit more. Keep breathing deeply, thinking of that connection to flow, but it doesn't have to be quite as powerful of an ujjayi breath. You can kind of relax your belly. Nice. And then release your hands, let your right foot land on the ground, keeping this thread the needle shape. Walk your right foot to the right a little bit, so it's kind of at the long edge of your mat, and then allow the knees to fall to the left. Arms can open up. You might want to release the foot if that doesn't feel good on your knee, but it can help to activate the foot and squeeze the bum. So there's a bit of a lengthening happening. You can also think of using the foot that's on your thigh, not to push down, but to lengthen the thigh sort of out of your belly. And then when you're ready, release that foot and wash the knees again. Okay, and then draw the knees in towards your chest. Give yourself a little hug. And then we'll make our way up to a seat. So you can rock and roll if you want, or you can roll to one side. And then come up to a seat. And I'm just going to sit on a little cushion, so I can make this a little bit more accessible. And go ahead and take your legs nice and wide. Doesn't have to be as wide as you possibly can, but just in a V of some type. Flex the feet. You may need to bend the knees a little bit or even put props underneath the knees. That's fine. Fingertips beside you, roll your shoulders onto your back, lift your heart, and think of rolling to the fronts of your sit bones. So that might be plenty. Okay, you can just let your head fall forward, or you might walk the hands forward and come into a little bit more of a fold. Especially if you do have some lower back stuff going on, just keep your chest nice and tall. Really, either way, you want to think heart forward rather than trying to get your head down. You want to get your spine long and forward. And then just when you feel that opening, kind of hamstrings, inner thighs, there's different areas you might feel this in. And again, if it feels safe to let your head release, you can. It's really more the spine that we want to keep nice and long. And some nice deep breaths here. And I'm just waving my heart a little bit from side to side. So you certainly don't have to do that. But for me, I find it's like a little massage, kind of get into both legs a little bit differently. I'm just kind of noticing the imbalances in my body today, the asymmetries. So I'm just flowing with that, with what's uneven. Gorgeous. And then when you're ready, gently make your way back up. You can use your hands to help your knees to bend. And again, you can take those windshield wipers. And then we'll make our way into Shavasana. So there are lots of ways to take Shavasana. Please take your favorite variation. We did a fair amount of core today and inversions, but we didn't do too much back bending, just a little. It might feel really nice to rest with a prop underneath your back. I'm getting my bolster here. Just to allow the belly to really completely release after all of that strength work that we did. So add your bits and bobs if you want an eye bag or blanket or a layer or something, feel free to do that. And if you are, well, whether or not you're laying on the bolster, actually, either way, take a few moments to fully relax the belly. Come back to your awareness of your pelvic floor, fully relax there. Just feeling the rise and fall of your breath and rest. Rest in the flow. Take a moment to notice how you're feeling. How connected you feel to the flow. And if that experience of flow or that sense of what it is might have changed since we began our practice. When you're ready, you can begin to deepen your breath and bring some small movements into your body. Maybe stretch. And roll over to one side. And eventually press up to a seat. It might feel right to take your hands together at your heart, or you could take Padma Mudra, the lotus, just with your thumbs and pinkies touching and the fingers open to the sky. So it's a little bit more of a receptive mudra. But anything that works for you, anything that feels right is fine. And just taking a moment to bow your mind, your hands, your heart, your breath, the flow, whatever that felt like today. Honoring and acknowledging the long and complex lineage of teachers that is with us when we practice our yoga. Honoring and acknowledging the land that we practice on, wherever that may be in the world. And honoring each other. Thank you for sharing your practice today. Thanks so much, everybody. So this is our last Ocean and Crow class. Starting on Thursday, the classes will all be on my new platform at juliepeters.ca. And all of the members get a little free week. So let me know if you need any help with that, or if you have any questions about that. It should be nice and easy. Jen's already doing it. You just get your Zoom link, super easy to come in. And this class is going to be at noon next week. So we're going to have noon Thursday, Friday, Tuesday, Thursday, and then the moon practice class will be at 10 a.m. every other Saturday. So yeah, happy to hear your questions, happy to hear your feedback. If there's anything else you want to chat about in particular, feel free to stick around and ask me, or we can have a chat. And I will see you guys hopefully on Thursday or next week.